Hi and welcome back to part 2. We're going to have a look at some of the more detailed features of Lessonspace. So just as a quick reminder, whenever you need to access a space, whether it's been created previously or not, you log into your dashboard and either create a new one or access one that's previously been created. So I'm going to log into this space that I've named Sally. I'm going to go through the standard checks, make sure my camera and my microphone are on, and I'm going to join. Now this is a space that I've used previously, and as such you can see that there is already a whiteboard here. But I'm going to show you a couple of ways of sharing files, screen, documents, various other bits and pieces. And in order to do so, you simply add a tab here at the top, in the top left corner. Click that little plus, and if I take my video out of the way, you'll see that I can go for, first one is a new whiteboard tab. Now a whiteboard tab is fairly self-explanatory. You interact with it in the same way that you would a whiteboard. It's for drawing, for writing, for annotating. And now one of the most useful things is annotating documents. So I'm going to upload an image or a PDF. I'm actually going to go for a PDF, although the process is exactly the same. I'm going to pick this sample PDF, and you'll see that that appears on the whiteboard. Right, it's actually got 2 pages, so something worth noting is each page will be created as its own whiteboard. So page 1 comes up as sample PDF number 1, and you'll see here that you can then interact with that, which will allow me to demonstrate a few of these tools. They're pretty self-explanatory. This one here is the colour. You can change the line colour and the fill colour, whatever colour you want. Moving the canvas is handy. It just allows you to pan. I'd recommend keeping things as small as possible rather than zooming in and out endlessly. Although if you've got a mouse with a click wheel, which I do here, you can scroll, which allows you to zoom in and out. But the move canvas just allows you to pan left and right. The draw tool is essentially a pencil. Go for a thick line. It's good for things like if you want to circle something, and the highlighting tool is for highlighting things. The erase tool does what it says on the tin. Shape tool allows you to draw various shapes. Text tool allows you to insert text, although there are possibly better ways of doing this, and if you want to have students type something, then I'll show you the document option rather than the whiteboard option. Equation tool now, Lessonspace has been built for both English teachers and maths teachers, so there are a few features that might seem a bit strange, but when you know why, make perfect sense. You can ignore the equation tool for now. Upload image and PDF, I've just shown you, that's what I did in order to get this PDF here. Insert resource allows you to add some of their pre-made bits and pieces. Like I said, I would ignore those for now. They're generally relating to maths. Video snapshot is simply a screenshot of this particular whiteboard, and you can change the background if you so desire. You might have something that's light and you want to change the background to black, in which case you can do that. Undo and redo, simply take a step back or a step forward, and the zoom level, which is what I did with the scroll wheel on the mouse, but you can also do manually. That should be give you an idea of what's available in the whiteboard tab. I'm going to close these 2 now because I don't need those, although there's no particular reason to close them down. You probably want to leave them when you're delivering the session so that you can refer back to them later. Now, document tab allows you to create a document. If you think of this as a Word document, basically a blank Word document, it will allow you to type, and it gives you some basic formatting options. You can kind of quickly change the size, you can make it bold, italic, strike through, and you can also highlight. This is probably useful if you just want to paste some text in. Otherwise you might just want to create a whiteboard tab, or you can import a Word document, which I'll come to in a minute. The code tab is another thing that you can ignore, and I wouldn't bother exploring the importing of a zip unless you have exported a previous session, and I'll touch on that in a moment. Importing PDF and Office documents, again, fairly self-explanatory. You click the button, you find the document, and you open it. The only thing to say with Lessonspace is if you have a document with multiple pages, each page is created as a new tab. So if I had a PowerPoint with 2 slides, which is what I have here, I'll end up with 2 tabs: sample PowerPoint 1, page 1, and sample PowerPoint, page 2. And I can interact with these in the same way. Zoom to fit is often helpful because it will immediately zoom out. If you want to interact with a PowerPoint, especially Word documents and things, PDFs are less important, but if you've got transitions in a PowerPoint that you want to kind of interact with, or you've got content that you want to show in a sequential manner rather than having these different tabs, you can share your screen, which will allow you to present a PowerPoint, deliver a PowerPoint presentation basically, as well as sharing web pages and things. Down here on the right hand side you'll see the option to share screen. Now students can do this as well if you'd like them to, but you click share screen. You have a choice really. You can either share your entire screen, which is basically everything that's visible. That's maybe the easiest, although make sure your email account is closed down and anything that's likely to pop up with a notification. It's worth bearing in mind that students can see everything that's going on once you've shared your screen. And you can share a specific window, and you can share a specific Chrome tab. So I'm going to share this Microsoft PowerPoint, which is something that I have open, and I haven't granted permission to access my screen. But if you accept the message that pops up, then the participants would be able to see that PowerPoint, and you could interact with it as normal. What I'm going to do then, rather than demonstrate PowerPoint, is demonstrate a Chrome tab. I'm just thinking you might want to share a YouTube video. If you are sharing video or audio, but anything that contains audio, it's important you leave this box checked, otherwise you'll be able to share the screen with the video, but no one will be able to hear you. And once I click share, my participants will be able to see the tab or the video or the particular thing that I've granted them access to. I touched on it in a previous video, but it's worth pointing out once again. This video in the bottom left is something I've overlaid so that you can see me. But if you want to be able to see the participant, I'm going to focus on Joe Bloggs, you need to pop out the video, which allows you to see the student even when you're interacting with a tab. Otherwise you'll be talking, demonstrating, showing people something on a second screen, and you won't be able to see what they're doing, whether they're looking confused, whether they've disappeared, whether they've had technical issues, whatever. So that's worth doing. It's easier with one student, although we limit our groups to 4, so even if you have to do that manually, it's no real hardship. If you want to pop that back in, you simply click back to tab, or you close that down, and they'll appear back in the sidebar. Right. So I think that's it on features. Just remember the whiteboard allows you to highlight and draw with pen, pencil, and allows you to upload images and import them into the whiteboard. If you upload documents, each page will be created as its own whiteboard. You can keep these here and chop and change between the two. I'm just going to turn off my screen sharing so we go back here. And the final thing I wanted to point out was within the options menu you're able to export. So rather than just saving a copy and having a video, you can actually export that space, which is great if you run out of time. All that would do is when I come to the space for the next session with that student, rather than export, I would just import the previous tabs. And if you need any help with that, you can either contact us or see the Lessonspace videos for further details. I think that's it for covering the basics. you'll have a trial session with one of our staff, and that's a great way of testing out some of these features and making sure you're comfortable with them. In the meantime, it's probably worth create a space, get someone, friend or family, to join so that you can test out some of these features. It is a little different to what you might be used to unless you've used Lessonspace before, but I hope you'll find when you get stuck in that it's actually pretty fully featured, and it's a decent platform. Okay, best of luck. Bye bye.